Welcome to Secular Soup. Stay tuned for real talk about atheism, feminism, politics, parenting, and whatever the fuck else Amy and Amy want to talk about, because this is their show. And get ready for a whole lot of motherfucking profanity.
You want to hear a secret?
I won't tell anybody. Go ahead. If I sit next to you, I'm going to get gonorrhea. It's going to jump into me. Just two ladies hanging out.
Is it okay for me to make fun of his neck waddle if I make fun of my own neck waddle?
I'm not sure.
That's a real ethical conundrum.
Would you know if you were born a lizard person, or can you be like adopted?
Oh no. Well, fuck.
So SteamYard stopped. I have to do this again.
Okay, I'm like, was it me? Did I type something?
No.
Okay.
I have to add these again.
God damn it.
Because I had to leave the studio and then come back, but it removed what I added.
Of course it did.
Ridiculous. Because my internet stopped. It has that static and it really annoys me. So my internet stopped.
That picture.
Oh yeah. No, I mean it has static when it starts.
No, yeah.
It's like my internet stopped last night and then it came back on and then it stopped again yesterday. It's a whole thing. So
Fine.
All right. If we had any options, our apartments, we don't have any options. We have to be with AT&T and they are garbage.
Yeah.
No. Spectrum. I don't know. We're with someone. They suck.
They're all terrible.
Whoever we're with, they suck.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no fiber here, even though there's been fiber since like the 90s.
Of course.
All right. I'm going to do the show now.
Okay.
Official.
Welcome to Secular Soup. Stay tuned for real talk about atheism, feminism, politics, parenting, and whatever the fuck else Amy and Amy want to talk about, because this is their show. And get ready for a whole lot of motherfucking profanity.
You want to hear a secret?
I won't tell anybody. Go ahead. If I sit next to you, I'm going to get gonorrhea. It's going to jump into me. Just two ladies hanging out.
Is it okay for me to make fun of his neck waddle if I make fun of my own neck waddle?
I'm not sure.
That's a real ethical conundrum.
Would you know if you were born a lizard person, or can you be like adopted into
I think you know.
We're such professionals.
We really are.
Buckle up, bitches. It's time to have some soup.
I'm Amy with a Y.
And I'm Amy with an I.
And we are just two blueberries floating in a bowl of tomato soup. And while we listened to that wonderful intro, I was trying to take the perfect selfie, but I don't think...
I took a garbage selfie, but I'm
this
basically...
one's not bad. Okay, I have one that's usable. So
this is the
week,
one I took.
This is what our podcast is about.
Look back at your text messages. I look like a middle-aged black man.
But those glasses, though, they look great on you.
Right?
Yeah.
He is actually. So he would come over to my desk and he was like, "Hey, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Hey." And he'd sit there and talk to me. Gentleman caller was like, "Is he flirting with you?" I'm like, "I think he is."
Like, hopefully, yeah.
I found out later that black men like redheads. So I'm like, oh cool. Well, good to know. Hey. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know. Because
I'm sure it applies to everybody. So
I'm everybody's type. This is what I tell myself.
So we this week are going to be talking all about the Netflix sensation television show Cheer, which I made Amy binge in 1 week.
I have literally never seen it. I
wanted to talk about it.
So I hadn't seen it. I had never heard about it, even though it's 40 minutes away from me is where it takes place.
Yeah.
So yesterday we were watching the last 2 episodes of season 2 and we were looking at houses in Corsicana. Amy, there is a house that has 5 bedrooms and an indoor pool that's like $350,000.
You need to buy a house next door to Monica.
Pool. I already live next door to Monica. I might as well live next door to Monica. Like, it doesn't even matter.
Well, I mean,
like,
if you live next
I'm
door
40
to
minutes
Monica, think about the content you could get just by like what
She
showing her come in and out of her driveway.
okay, she
And
would like me actually. Like
so much TikTok.
I speak basic bitch. Like I
Hmm.
can,
Basic Texas bitch.
and I can handle that. Like I sent you pictures. You and I were talking. I'm like, this is my local cheer, like my local high school cheerleader or cheer captain. And I sent you a picture. She looks like
Mhm.
Monica's sister, essentially. Like
Yeah.
my friend is actually a little hotter, but she is. She's
I'm sure Monica appreciates that.
super Mormon.
Yeah.
Like she listens. Like
Mhm.
she
She's
listens.
a big fan.
So the thing that bothers me about Monica, I
There's
like
one
her.
thing.
Actually, no,
Mhm.
I actually. So I like her as a
Mhm.
person because she
Yeah.
genuinely cares about those kids.
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me is she's Christian and she goes to a church that she has admitted hates gay people. And yet she talks about how she fights with her pastor about
Mhm.
gay rights
Yeah.
because she loves her kids and she's not, she doesn't believe that her children, her babies are sinning.
Mhm.
Why are you still Christian, or why are you still going to that church?
Yeah, there's
Like
got to
that,
be a million churches around. Like,
so much bothers me about Monica.
yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
very hypocritical. I don't.
that's, I mean, also that's Texas. Like, because Amy was texting me about things like,
Mhm.
she's like, oh, this, oh, that. I'm like, that's just small town Texas. Like, no, that's just a thing we
Mhm.
do. No, that's a thing we do.
Yeah.
Like when they showed the college class where they're like, well, Texas history, and you got to be
Oh my
conservative to be around
God, that
here,
was so
and you got to
cringy.
do this. I've had that class.
Oh
I've
my God.
Yeah, I've had that class where you sit there, they tell you how to vote, they tell you how to believe
Wow.
in college. They
Mhm.
if you're going to live around these parts, like I'm in so many Facebook groups with like patriot moms, quote unquote, where they
Mhm.
tell you who to vote for, what to do, what to wear, how to look, I'm in there
Wait,
as a
are these
troll.
the
I
liberal
am a troll.
universities that you're talking
No.
about?
Oh yeah, the liberal agenda of the
Yeah,
university.
liberal agenda at
Yeah.
colleges.
Absolutely, it is. But you get
Um,
in there and then you have that professor that's trying to fight against the liberal agenda of science.
mhm.
And yeah, it's bad. It's usually
Yeah,
history professors.
watching that was so
So
cringy, and it was like I can't even
yeah, it's
imagine what it must
Texas.
have been like to be Black in that class. Like, it was you could just and
Well,
it showed their faces like, "What the fuck are we
I love
listening to
it.
right now? Oh my God."
I don't love it. Like I remember the first time I took like a Texas history in college. Well, I
Mhm.
took it all through. You have to take Texas history third grade, fifth grade, seventh grade, and I believe
Holy
your
shit.
sophomore year in high school.
They don't teach
You
us
take it.
any Minnesota history here,
Well,
none.
you should take Texas history then, because it's
Yeah.
apparently really interesting. And then you have to take it in college too. You have to take a Texas history in order to graduate college. So
Wow.
when I took it in seventh grade, my teacher wore pale blue tracksuits. This was in the 90s.
Mhm.
Tracksuits were not they were not a thing anymore. Like
Yeah.
and he would wear pale
Mm,
blue.
weren't they? They've always been
Mm,
a thing.
Okay, no, tracksuit's not the right word. What's the one piece suit? Like
Jumpsuit?
it was a pale blue jumpsuit,
Jumpsuit.
like pale blue and
Mhm.
tight, like skin tight on him, and he would sit with his legs open on the desk in front of girl. He was gross. He actually got in trouble years later for
Ew.
stuff, but
Mhm.
yeah, he would sit there and he would just teach us about Texas history, and people would ask questions, and he was like, "Well, glad you asked about that." And like,
Oh my God. Like, there
so
is so
cringy.
much about Minnesota, particularly our horrible history with the Native American population,
Oh yeah,
that could be
ours is
useful to
not good either.
learn, but they don't teach us any of that shit, so
Well, they teach us that the Battle of the Alamo, we were
Mhm.
the good guys.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
I did have actually when I was in high school, my sophomore year, I took Texas history. No, it wasn't in Texas history. It was in a government class actually, and we were presented cases. We were mock UN, and we were presented cases, and we got to vote on whether or not we agreed with the decision or disagreed with the decision.
Mhm.
And it was blind. Like we didn't know what situation she was giving us. And
Okay.
everybody agreed, yes, this was the right decision for Santa Anna, the person who invaded the Alamo, because he literally was wronged. Like, we lied to him and took his territory. So, but no, we're taught that he was the bad guy, and Santa Anna was the Davy Crockett and all of those guys. And Sam Houston was a good guy, and Yellow Rose of Texas was a real person, which it wasn't. So yeah, we were taught all of this.
There is
until college, and then
there's a documentary on Prime. Well, documentary. There's a show on Amazon Prime, like a series that it must have come out in 2015 called Texas Rising, and it's got a whole bunch of. It's like a mini series, but it's.
Yikes.
It starts with the Alamo.
It might break. My brain might break.
Santa Ana, and I thought, this could be good. I'm gonna try. I like history, and I watched the first 10 minutes and went, nah, no, it's got lots of better things to do with my time than this.
Thrown so much stuff into me.
They had, I think it was Bill Paxton playing Sam Houston.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah,
it was a whole like. No thanks.
I heard about that in my
Cheer though. Cheer is an excellent show.
He's dead now. Cheer is fantastic, and I have 4 pages of notes.
Okay, I don't have any. It's all in my head.
I was taking real time notes because I was watching it as I was working, and I was trying to like. So the first thing is Cheer is about college cheerleading, and cheerleading is one of the, if not the most dangerous sport.
Yeah, like that's what shocks me is just how
the injury rate is insane. Like in just that show, we saw someone break their ankle, their wrist or arm or whatever whatever she fell and broke. She broke like her wrist or her arm or something.
Yeah.
And like people are always talking about injuries. They like had like the Vontae had someone come back from ankle surgery. There's all kinds of injuries, and if they land wrong, and then broken ribs. Morgan had broken ribs.
Yep.
Like it's insane.
You'd think like punctured lungs would be a thing too. I would worry about that.
Didn't seem to be bothered by it.
Yeah.
She stayed. Although I get it. You've been working on this thing for years and years. But she didn't come back, which I think she should have come back because she was better than Jillian, but whatever. That's just me.
Yeah. I was just I know nothing about cheer any more than the average person does. It's not something that that is really big in the culture here so much. I don't think
you saw how big it is here. Like you saw.
Yeah.
I was asked to be a cheerleader when I was in high school. My biology teacher, I keep almost saying professor. My biology teacher was also the cheer captain, and I was like teeny tiny, like 4'2", under 100 pounds. Like I was like 97 pounds or something. And she was like, "You're cute. You're tiny. We should teach you how to get up there. Like we'll throw you." And I was like, fuck that. And she was like, but so I took this test in high school. They take this biology test like the first week of school, and I aced it. And so I didn't have to take the class the rest of the year. And she's like,
nice.
go to cheerleading during this course, during this time. Like I will cover you. Like you get the credit for science because you the test, and you can go join cheer, and I'll spot you. Like it's fine. You'll be like, whatever, like whatever. And I was like, I chose to take all 3 lunch periods instead.
Ooh.
And I feel like in that moment, my life decisions were made. Instead of becoming an athlete and learning, I took 3 lunch periods instead.
But what part of having other people throw you around in the air was
I did not want
to you? Like what?
I did not want to be thrown. I did not want to be touched.
I watch that and I'm like, the trust they have to put into each. I try doing a trust fall sometime. Can you imagine doing a trust fly through the air? Like,
nope, I won't trust. I don't trust anybody.
Yikes. I can't.
Yeah, no, but they tried. She tried real hard. She kept reminding me. She was like, what about not just necessarily, maybe not cheer, maybe just the pep squad, or maybe this, and maybe that. I'm like, 3 lunches.
We had
lunch periods.
In our high school, we had this, there was cheerleading, but it was still, as far as I knew, pretty traditional cheerleading. it wasn't like all the
No.
gymnastics involved with it. But we
We
also had
we had
Dance
this.
Line, which Dance
We
Line
had
is
dance
huge in
team,
Minnesota. That's like that's much bigger than Cheer is here.
but
Dance
I
Team
was
and Dance
never
Line.
coordinated, but they can throw the
Mhm.
shit out of me. That's fine.
Yeah, it was, gosh, I'm trying to think of what the first thing that, well, give me some of your notes and I can,
Okay.
so what else did you
So
have in your
so I was
arsenal of
talking
notes?
about the pressure,
Mhm.
the watching your weight, and the men need to be bulky enough because
Mhm.
not only to be strong enough, but also to appear trustworthy.
Right.
Like if they had the cut arms, then the girls would trust them more
Mhm.
and they would get picked more. And then the pressure to make the mat. Like everybody talked about
Yes.
making the mat. Like there's 40 people on the team and only 20 people go to compete. That's a
Mhm.
big deal. That's half.
Yeah, and not
So
only that, but the pressure on this one performance,
2
and not
minutes and
only
15 seconds
yeah,
is
not
all it
only that
is.
one performance being everything, but also being the last time you ever get to do this.
That was
Like,
something else I talked about, or I have written down is
so our friend
you work on it forever.
Tony, is,
I love
he's in a bunch of the
Tony.
podcast groups of ours.
Mhm.
He had commented on a post I made about cheer because he had a daughter who did cheer for a long time. And he said there's actually, there's the high school, or not high school, there's the college cheer world, and then
Yeah.
there's the all-star cheer world, which is
Which
its
we
whole
have
other thing.
obviously we have a lot in
Yeah.
Texas because the
Mhm.
one that Jerry was at is literally like 15 minutes from
Yeah.
my house.
Well, and he
because it's
said
right
he
here.
thinks they should do a whole show just on that world because it's a whole
Mhm.
nother thing. But like
It's a different animal.
the way they talk about, that being the last time they ever get to cheer, I'm like, well, but can't they go cheer in All Star? Like, if they're really good, couldn't they
But
make a profession out of
not
it that way?
I mean, yes, but you could only be a coach. Like that they're talking about like performing.
Why can't you perform? Like, I don't know.
You
It's
just don't. They don't have
it's the
the
same way with like
system
Dance
set
Team and
up.
Dance Line, where
It just
you can do it
ends.
in college and it just ends. But like, I
Well,
would pay money to go see professional shows
well, I was in debate
of
and
that,
that stops too. Like no one
Yeah.
for fun
Well,
professionally
until you join Congress.
I
Mhm.
am working on that. Obviously I've been working on my professional political career
I just
with
feel like
all of my dick jokes.
there's gotta be a market for, like, I would happily sit and watch an entire show of people flying through the
Oh,
air and,
yeah.
like, doing these insane moves, and I'm surprised that it isn't a professional sport just
Well, and they
as
were
it
talking
is,
about like the Dallas Cowboys, like
which isn't the
the
same
the Dallas
thing.
cheerleaders. It's not the same thing
No.
because they are more dancers.
Yeah,
They
they're
don't
not
do
doing the
the
gymnastics.
acrobatics and the
Yep.
gymnastics side of it.
Yeah.
But they
It's the
also can't because they don't have
Yeah.
the same setup. They
Mhm.
literally go out on the floor on the
Yeah.
green and do their
It
routine and
needs
then
to
they
be its
leave.
own thing, not something that's on the
It's not
sideline of
though.
another game, That's what they need
It
to
should
do.
be like
It's
an Olympic event because they
Yes.
are athletes.
It's got to be the hardest, like, I can't just the amount
I
of
watched
different
that
skills you need to
routine,
have. Oh, yeah.
that final
It's
routine on the season
ugh.
1. I watched that final routine and I showed it to Gentleman Caller. I'm like, dude, look like everywhere you look, there's something going on. And it was
Yeah.
just
Just
fascinating.
people flying here and I was trying to get my kids to watch it. I'm like, "Come
And
watch
I
this."
understand the
It's
next one wasn't as good. Like the next
Mhm.
performance wasn't. My
Yeah.
favorite is the pyramid where because they do those things where they pop up and then they pop down and they pop up and then they pop down
Mhm.
like so many times.
Yeah.
It's
I
fascinating.
The whole thing just astounds me.
Yeah.
And then to watch them
And
also trying to smile and do facial expressions the whole time
that
while
poor
they're
kid, he just
like,
doesn't smile. He
oh
just
my god,
doesn't.
I loved
I
it. The
know.
second season, my
D
D,
D
one of
just
my
doesn't smile.
favorite moments of the whole series so far is when they showed D at nationals, like, we're gonna
Oh,
have
when he was like,
spoilers, so just deal with
"What?
it. But
What?"
yeah, he, like, the first time he fucks it up, and then they go in for the second one, and they like, he just does this, "Yeah," move where he kinda
He does it like a what?
lunges
Like
and
what?
yeah, and they give it to you in slow-mo, so I just loved him in that
That was
moment. I'm
better
like,
than a
"You did it,
smile.
D, you did it." It was so
Well, he's the one that's
exciting.
there with his sister, right? Because his
Um, I don't know.
I think him and his sister are there.
I don't know. I know, that I think it was
Oh no,
April
he
was the
has a
sister.
brother, and then I
Yeah.
don't
I
know.
think a
I don't know.
different
There was
person
like
was
Jay. It was Jay and his
s
sister.
okay,
Jay,
yeah. That
Jaden
makes
and his
sense.
sister.
Yes,
So
yes.
my favorite person on that whole show, both
Mhm.
seasons, is Dee's mom. Where she was like still
trying to
defending
remember
his
Dee's mom.
dad who was in prison. She was like, he made some mistakes. She was in the flowered shirt and the yellow pants, and she was
Okay.
and she
Yes.
had she had two boys, and they're
Mhm.
from rural Georgia.
Mhm.
And she's like, he wanted to do cheer, and you're kind of afraid that she's gonna say something shitty.
Yeah.
And she was like, and I was like, go for it.
Yeah.
And then his brother was like, he wanted to do cheer. And then he told me he wasn't going to join the team unless I joined. So I joined too. I'm like,
Mhm.
you guys are the
It was
best.
so sweet.
I love you so much. Like,
They were just, oh my
Gentleman
God.
Caller was watching that part and
Yeah.
he was like crying. He was like, they are so sweet. I'm like, that's what you need. You don't
They're
need people
fucking
like the other one where
adorable.
he's like, my three brothers beat me up when I joined
I
cheer because I wouldn't
know.
play football.
Oh my God. But the moment that Ladarius's brother sees
Derek.
him and the
And he's
single
crying.
tear,
Oh,
that
I
was,
died.
I died during that moment too. I'm like, oh my God, his brother's proud of him. He's finally proud of him.
Oh.
It was just, that's one interesting
Man.
thing about the show that when I first started watching it and after I was finished with it, would read articles and stuff about it, is that it really shows this community
The
for,
people.
well, not just for but like specifically for Black gay men, like boys, like who don't
There's
have a
not
hard time
really
finding a
place,
community for themselves. And here they
especially in
have,
rural Texas. Let's be real.
and here they found
Although,
this little world where they're supported and appreciated, and they can,
yeah,
take care
I
of
love
each
that
other.
they were like,
And
for this 2 minutes and 15 seconds, even if you're not gay, be gay.
yeah,
You
I
need
love
sass. You need to show it.
just do
Well,
it.
that was one thing I did kind of touch on in my notes is
Mhm.
Monica, the Navarro cheer coach,
Mhm.
seeks out. She is really good at momming people who have the troubled people, the troubled kids, but she's really good at seeking out people that need that and using it to her own advantage and using it to make her team stronger because they need her.
Yeah, that makes
I
sense. I can see
feel
that.
like she was kind of using it more
Oh
than
yeah.
I feel like
I
she was
mean,
using them more than they were needing her.
I get the impression that she is a just win at all costs person, and some of those costs aren't as nice as other
Well,
costs. Like,
there was one time where somebody fell and hurt their toe, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, he hurt his toe!" And Andy, her co-coach, said he has 9 others. And
Yep.
I kind of feel like that's the mentality. Like,
Yeah.
if someone gets hurt, you replace them. If something happens, you just keep going.
Or
They're
you
trying not to
sacrifice.
kill them, but they're
Yeah.
also they're expendable because there's 20 more people to go on mat.
And these are kids who have the whole rest of their lives ahead of them, and they are ruining their bodies right now. Like, there's so many things
But they
that
have
can
to
go
smile
wrong.
about it.
Yes, and they can't complain. And it seemed like there was, and I'm sure this happens also in every other sport, in football and whatever else, but there's so much pressure on them to just keep going and to ignore it and to
suck it up.
That is so frustrating. Like, just
Like, I
watching
saw that so many times. They're like,
Yeah.
suck it up, suck it up. And then, so this was something that is very Texas, praying before everything.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I don't know if that happened to you in Minnesota, but in every play, debate tournament, choir, anything I ever did, we would circle up just like they did in the show, hold hands, and there was a prayer that was said before every event, every time, like forever. That's
Not
just
really.
a Texas thing.
It happens sometimes. It's not.
Like, that is what we did, is we would all circle up and pray. I've even worked at jobs where we prayed every morning.
Holy shit.
Yes.
Like at a secular job?
Yes.
Maybe? No.
Yeah.
I can see very
job.
religious
It was more of a
places
private
doing
company.
it,
but yes, yeah.
still.
It was I've worked at places where they prayed every day.
Wow. Yikes.
Yep.
No thanks.
Yeah. I was the one with the eyes. Well, that's why I joined
Man.
the corporate, soulless corporate world, because there's not praying.
No, good point.
So
Maybe
and
there
also
should be, though.
and they pay more. They pay more because
Maybe
God covers the gap in your
the
dividend.
meat?
I don't know.
I don't know. Jesus does a
I
lot
don't
of
even
stuff. Yeah, the Jerry. So I'm going to
We have to
assume
talk
for the
about Jerry.
purposes of this that people who are listening to this have seen Cheer, and if you have not, just go watch it. You'll appreciate.
It's
Like,
great.
you're probably not going to appreciate us talking about it unless you've actually seen it, and it is worth watching. So go watch it. But Jerry, who was one of the most popular characters, not people out of season 1.
I loved him
Everybody loved
so
Jerry. And I
much.
remember when season 1 ended, that was huge. He was going on all these shows and they were doing, and the
He
Matt
was,
Talk
like,
thing. He was so good at Matt
He
Talk.
went to the Oscars for Ellen.
Yes. And
Like,
he was everybody
so
just
popular.
loved. He was so lovable and he was
so he
kind.
I was bawling my eyes out. His mom died when he was in high school and he was in cheer, and his mom died, and it was the day of a meet. And he went to the meet still, like, with a smile on his face, because he was like, my mom would want me to keep doing what I love. And that just broke my heart. Like, it just broke my heart. And
then
he's just amazing.
He lived with a family of, where a friend of his was in cheer, and so they just
from
kind of let
the
him
All-Star
move in.
Club or whatever. Yeah.
And he was just like, he was the character. Everybody loved him. I shouldn't say character, but it's a reality show. But no, he was so inspirational. And then you find out, like, I knew about it before I saw season 2, just because it popped up in news feeds. But he was accused of some sexual
inappropriate
improprieties
behavior
with some children. And the way that they talked about it in season 2, I think, was perfect, like pitch perfect, the way they did it, because they left no room for people to be like, well, maybe it wasn't so like the kids who were accusing him,
they were
went
there,
on record, talked, and it explained exactly
and it
what
was
happened.
Very, very clear. And I was like,
Yes.
God damn it, Jerry.
Yep. Because if you don't know exactly what it is, you can think to yourself, well, maybe it's somebody overreacting, or maybe something he didn't do on purpose, or maybe, but like, no, they laid it out. This is what he did. It was
And when
wrong.
they talk about him, when he knew he was going to be under investigation, ditching his phone.
Yep.
Because the evidence was on his phone, and then getting a new phone, and then doing the same thing again with his new phone.
And doing the same thing. And like, he clearly knew what he was doing was wrong. He was harassing these kids. He was doing everything a groomer does to groom children.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. And I think
so sad.
They did a good job of,
did.
interviewing his teammates too, who were having such a hard time reconciling.
Because they love him.
He's like their family member, and he did this horrible thing.
And Monica said that too. She's like, she was devastated. Like, that lawyer was like, she needs to go out there and make a statement. No, she was in bed devastated.
Yeah.
And
which
she had
I
COVID.
totally believe. I believe all of them. Well, COVID too, but like,
but she was like curled up in bed, and she was like sick, like just sick about it. And she was like, I love him, but I can't support him anymore, but I will never stop loving him.
Yeah. Well, that's like if you have a kid that does something horrible, you're not going to stop caring about them. And
I know that they'll get bumped down in favoritism.
I felt so bad at that point
competition
for Ladarius, who, I mean, they were practically best friends.
They were like brothers. They were literally, they were roommates. They were brothers.
And
they
for him, like,
together.
Ladarius had a history of sexual abuse. And so
he was so mad at him. He was like, you know that this happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But someone in that moment, when they're acting out, you're not thinking of anyone else.
No, you're not.
Like,
absolutely.
I can't imagine thinking about anyone else when you're abusing
you're
someone
thinking
else.
about yourself.
Right. And then you think about it later, but then you keep doing it because of the...
But like, think of just how triggering that is for Ladarius, who already didn't trust anybody. And then to find out
he let this guy in.
The one of the few people that he really formed a bond with turned out to be...
He looked up to him because he was so upbeat, and Ladarius was so inherently negative.
Yeah.
And so Ladarius basically backpedaled all the way back to being negative again because he was emulating the positivity.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was
really sad. And Ladarius made me sad too because he went so off the rails.
I know.
And Lexi, I just want the best things for Lexi.
Yeah. Lexi confuses me. I don't.
She's so amazingly talented. And she just can't stop like fucking around and doing drugs and which I get. Fucking around and doing drugs is super fun.
Okay, can we talk for a minute about how fucking crazy Gabby's parents are, though?
Okay, I hate them. First of all, all they do is fight with each other and control her life.
Yes, they're both total narcississists. Obviously,
assholes. They're straight up assholes.
The worst.
And her dad is worse than her mom.
Child.
Her dad is worse
I think they're both terrible. I don't know if I can.
Well, no, because there's so many times where the mom will be talking and he's like, "Fine, you know what? You just tell it."
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he's abusive.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
100% abusive. And then they'll call her and she's like, "Hey, I'm at study hall. I'm busy. I'm doing school," and they're still talking over her. Let her be a college student.
Yeah, they're just
stop trying to manage her life.
Yeah, they're in her apartment. Like, where do you want this? Just let her figure it out? Like, Jesus Christ, you don't need to be there.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, like, when my kids ever move out, I'm just going to dump everything right in the entryway of their door. They're like, I'm like, do you want me to help you put it away or do you want to figure it out?
Mine are never moving out, so I don't have to worry about that.
I don't think mine,
you know.
My oldest will probably never move out of his dad's house. The rest are, I don't know. My daughter's probably moving out tomorrow.
Could be.
She has decided that she needs nobody from the time she was 6 months old. And now she's just waiting for the world to catch up with that realization that she doesn't actually need anybody.
That's fair.
If I took too long to get her a drink, like if I took slightly too long to get her a drink, she was under a year. She was probably like 9 months old. She would push a chair over, climb up the chair, unlock the fridge because you have to hold that button down and get herself a drink of water. I'm like, okay, cool.
Whereas my younger son, who's your daughter's age, will just not eat if I don't make him a sandwich, and he'll just go. I guess I won't eat today then.
Female, it's like I know I sound like the Ferengi, like females, but it's a difference. A girl after two boys versus youngest boy. It's different. Like she just does not give a fuck. Like, she screamed at me last weekend. Screamed, like screeching like a pterodactyl.
Did you deserve it?
No, I was so mad at her. I pulled over and we had a long talk about screaming because you fucked up. She was at a party, super spreader event. She now has COVID. It's fine, but she's at her dad's house. I knew it was a super spreader event when I took her to a party up in that small town.
Isn't everything in Texas a super spreader event at this point? Just to clarify. Yes, but she insisted on going to this party. I was like, I don't want to take you to this party. And she was saying it's from 6 to 10. I was like, 10? Really? Yikes. Okay, it's fine. And so I took her at 6. It was fine. And then she sent me, I sent her a text saying, does it still end at 10? And she sent me a text back saying 9 now, unless I try to stay later. And I was like, okay, cool. This is at 9:15. I'm like, oh crap, I'm on my way. And so I called her from the car twice because it was about a 20-minute drive over there. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's the only person standing there. I felt so bad. Yeah. I get there. The party ended at 10 still. I get there at like 9:30 or something. And she's screaming at me because she's leaving early. I'm like, look at the receipts. You can't hear me rolling my eyes, people, but I'm rolling my eyes. I saw it. I'm like, look at the receipts. Look at the receipts. They say 9 p.m. You told me 9 p.m. I was already in bed laying on a hot pad. Yeah. Like I was living like a queen. Sorry, I'm taking a selfie again. That's fine. I was like, I was already in bed. I wasn't planning on coming when I would have come at 11. I would have come at 1, whenever you told me. Yeah. You told me 9. I showed up at 9.
It's 20 something degrees outside. I don't want to be outside 9. I don't want to be outside in that.
I don't want to be outside at all right now.
No.
I mean,
And the mom opened the door very Monica-like. She was
Mhm.
in like super skinny jeans and boots and full face of makeup. And I looked like a hobo because I was just lying on a hot pad. And I come in because I'm calling her. I called her twice from the car to verify that it was the right time, the right place, the right everything.
Mhm.
She didn't answer her phone also. So I had to go to the door and knock on the door, and she's called down and she's like quiet. And then she comes out to the car and starts screeching at me. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I don't yell at my kids because I don't think it's productive. But I pulled over and I was like, you need to seriously reevaluate the way you're speaking to me based on the situation. And then she was like, I'm just so frustrated. I'm like, I understand you're frustrated. I get it. That is a very frustrating thing. You sent the wrong time. I get it. You can't scream at me.
Yeah.
You can't. I'm like, I didn't even want you to go to this
Parenting
super
is
spreader
hard.
event with people that I know are anti-vax. Like 100% I know they're anti-vax.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
but it's fine. That was on Saturday night last week. She got a scratchy throat on Monday. I'm pretty sure now she has COVID. I haven't seen her since Sunday morning. And she's been sick since Monday, and she's at her dad's house. So have fun with
better there than at your house. So far I have not.
He kept trying to get him
COVID,
to come over to my house because his birthday was this week. I was like, sorry, dude. She's sick at your house. She stays at your house.
Yeah. So cheer. What else did we have? Do you have more notes? No,
sorry. I had to talk about my daughter for a minute.
It happens. It's
bitch.
Right in the tagline. Our show is about politics,
so it's
parenting.
The thing is, it's okay. Let me read you my.
You read those while I check Instagram filters.
So I talked about how Texas, it's a giant money-making machine in Texas, is cheer and football. Those are just the booster clubs. The money allocated to schools is it's so like weighted towards the sports. It just is.
My God.
And then my notes are like giant money-making casino thing. Okay, Chris Franklin, the Trinity Valley former coach who's back as like a co-coach kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Is it just me or does he look like Coach Beard from Ted Lasso?
He does. And I was trying to figure out what his living situation is fine.
100% he's in a throuple.
But is that a throuple? Because that really seems like a throuple to me.
He was like, yeah, we were super good friends. And then when he met her and they got married, they asked me to move in. Really?
I'm like, that really strikes
me. A
newlywed
couple doesn't ask some Coach Beard dude to move in with them unless they're all fucking. And then the way they all hugged together, all hugged. Yeah, it was very
okay. I'm glad that I wasn't the only one that noticed that.
That's a throuple. But in Texas, in small town Texas, they are just friends. And then my notes are, is the Trinity Valley coach single? He's cute. Now he's shirtless. Not cute. He's now fucking hot. Those are my notes right there.
Fucking hot.
Fucking hot. When he was running shirtless, I was like, okay, he's got a tattoo on his chest.
He's smoking hot.
Muscles.
Oh, what if he's gay though?
I obviously have perused the internet. The jury is out.
The jury is out.
And I got to tell you, I know that they said that city is known for the Collins Street Bakery fruitcake. It is fucking delicious.
Really?
Yeah, I've had it, and I'm like, fruitcake, but I tried it. Delicious.
It's delicious. Like fruitcake is
delicious. From there, like that is crazy good.
I'm trying not to get a glare on I'm still trying to take the perfect selfie. I have my jowls here are really bothering me.
Other thing that I'm talking about is the choreographer, Brad.
Yes.
That switched teams.
Yes.
I love that so much. And then spoilers, he won.
Yes.
Because Dalton, so my notes are, what did Monica do to piss Brad off? Because you know Monica said something or did something or was an extra bitch or whatever.
When they
And
were interviewing the people and they're like, wait, what? What? They're performing. Oh my God. No, I didn't know. Like, that was just
Brad
priceless.
left, and then his assistant stayed.
Yeah.
And they're like, we basically have the same styles. No, you don't. Brad
See,
is
I
better.
felt like they were secretly a couple, had broken up,
Oh.
and this
And then
was the
he
getting
joined
back
the
at him.
throuple.
No, he just
I know, I'm
joined
kidding.
the team to get back
He
at his,
joined.
and it was just, an
Maybe.
epic, like, fuck you, I'm gonna go work for this team then. And
Maybe.
I mean, but yes, I very much got Coach Beard vibes from
The
first
other
it was
yes, the Coach Beard in a throuple.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Brad situation was priceless. Like I love
Yes.
that under drama. Like that was fantastic.
That was the best.
Super great.
I
loved it.
Did you like one team over the other? Like, were you rooting for Navarro over Trinity, or did you
Okay,
feel like
so
they were
I was
kinda...
rooting for Navarro,
Mhm.
but the second season I was rooting for Trinity Valley because I really wanted
Them to
I
have
really
their
wanted
turn?
them to have their turn. I wanted that disgusting tape ball to be retired. And
Oh god.
but so the thing that I thought was just absolutely brutal, and that was what both teams did, but Monica does it more often, is
Mhm.
she pulls someone off mat and she throws in one of the alternates to do their routine for
Yep.
a couple practices just to get that person to shape up. But she doesn't
Yeah.
tell the person that she's replacing them with they're not permanently on mat.
Yep. So she's fucking with both of them.
She's fucking with both of them, but she's
Mhm.
doing it because so everybody knows that your situation's not permanent. Like you could
Right.
be any time pulled on. So,
Which is fair.
stay in shape, and just because you're on mat doesn't mean you're on mat. But it's not nice to anybody.
No.
So,
It's
and then I was also talking about the head injuries, like all the injuries and the cavalier attitude towards injuries. Like there's always someone to step in.
Mhm.
Like whatever, you get hurt, she'll take your place.
Yeah.
Like no one really cared
It
about the
hurt
injuries.
watching sometimes, just like
So
how
knowing when I knew that Morgan had broken ribs, and every time she did a basket and they would grab her, I was cringing because I knew she had
know.
broken ribs.
Yes. And yet that
hurt
it's
me.
so ingrained into the culture too that when they do get hurt, they don't even want to tell the coach. They just pretend it's not happening.
I do have a note in my thing saying, Monica, where were you on January 6th? Because
I could totally see her.
So many people that look like Monica got a private plane all together, and a lot of them are in jail, like Jenna Ryan and stuff. They're all in jail, but they just like flew out, and it was like a whole girls thing. But yeah, I was just wondering.
Sorry, I'm trying to get.
And yeah, then I put OMG. The gym Jerry was at when he was arrested is 15 minutes away from me, like 15 minutes away from me, which is gross.
Our friend Tony, apparently the gym that he was in, because Jerry was from Chicago.
Yeah, he's from Illinois.
Was one that Tony, his kids were in. So like they knew Jerry too. And he said it hit really close to home
Yikes.
for them, because I'm sure there were tons
they loved
of kids
him because he's super
Jerry.
fun.
And then I'm sure all the parents too were like, fuck, what? And they're all now wondering if something happened with their kids. And I thought it was so brave of those boys to come
put
out
a face to it instead of just being anonymous. Because they were younger. They're young enough that they could have the option to be. I mean, anybody has the option 14. To be anonymous, but
they were like 14, and they
were only 14.
Can you imagine at that age to go on something that's going to be seen all over the country?
I don't know if they're 14 now. They're like 16 now, but still.
Are they? I think it looked like when they were recorded, they were probably 14 or 15. They seemed young. But
so I also was talking about how that environment makes it very easy to be a victim or to have predators victimize people.
Yes.
Because there's so much trust ingrained. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with like a church environment where if someone is with children, you just trust.
Yeah. And there's authority.
It's not okay.
You're supposed to listen to your coach. There's that authority situation where if the coach tells you to do it, you do it. And if you don't
And
do
the-
it, then you're like off match, or you're facing consequences because you didn't listen.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And the other, what else was I going to say about that? I was talking about, so I have this friend who, she was actually on, not Dancing with the Stars, that was Monica. She was on So You Want to Be a Dancer, or that one, you know what I'm talking about? So You Think You Can Dance.
So You Think You Can Dance, yeah.
Yeah, she was on So You Think You Can Dance. She didn't make it to the next round. She went to LA, but then she, failed out. But she's like super famous because her daughter got on stage and did some dancing after she danced. Like if you Google So You Think You Can Dance kid, like whatever, like her daughter, like she did it, and then she was like, "These are my kids, and my daughter's a dancer." And then they were like, "Come on up," and so her daughter did this whole routine. It was super cute. But she like owns this dance studio here, and she works here. She's like a traveling choreographer, and her photographer got arrested for assaulting the girls, and he had access because they were like, do this, and he was like zooming in and being super creepy and like touching them. And so it's that environment of trust. And
well, if you were a pedophile, what kinds of organizations would you want to get yourself into?
Dance, photography, cheerleading, Cub Scouts,
Catholic Church. I mean, really any kind of church.
YMCA programs. Yeah. That's why it's relevant-ish, because it was like she trusted him. He took all her pictures for all her girls, and they would do like one-on-one private sessions. And,
God.
Yeah.
What did you have any other notes? I'm trying to think if I
do.
Other...
Okay. So they talked about the freeze. They talked about the freeze.
Yes.
It was, which is super awesome to see in like a documentary, because it was so life-changing. Like I've never lived through anything like that in my entire life. And so it was nice to see it represented, because they were talking about how cold it was and how they didn't have any power and how they didn't have any hot water. And it was just like the entire state didn't have any power or hot water, and people were dying. It was insane. And they showed that picture in the documentary of that car that was covered with water because the pipe broke above it.
Yes.
That's in my friend's apartment complex, like
what?
20 minutes away. They live in like a skyrise apartment complex, and like, it's like just down the road from me. So that's
see, that's just every day. Like it's like that now outside here.
Well, yes, but you have power. Like if your power went out,
insulation in my house, and I have,
I live in that's just me specifically. Is I live in an old apartment, and I had no power for 8 days. So my house itself was 35 degrees. So I was gonna die, and I have a diesel, so my car didn't start. Because why would I know to do that?
That's why nobody drives diesels here.
I wouldn't. How would I know? I live in Texas. I wouldn't know.
I didn't even know that was a
block thing.
I didn't know that was an option until I was well into adulthood. I knew like big trucks had diesel. I didn't think cars actually ran on diesel. I'm like, that's
my Beetle is a diesel. But it was a great thing until then. And then I was like, my car isn't starting. So I called AAA, and they came out, and they didn't tell me anything, because they were like, it's not your battery. We don't know what's going on. I'm like, I don't know what's going on either.
It's cool.
Luckily, I called Schmistina, and she took me to her house that had rolling outages.
Oh, nice.
But her house was newer than my apartment. So she had power intermittently, and she had a fire going. So I was cool.
Yeah.
So she picked me up. We went to the liquor store because priorities.
Of course.
Then we went to her house. So oh, good.
Yeah, we have a fireplace, but I'm pretty sure you need the electricity to turn it on.
Yeah, well, mine's gas.
So, I mean, it's a gas fireplace, but
I don't have any wood because I live in Texas again, and I work from home in an apartment, so my desk is in front of my fireplace. So I don't have access to my fireplace. Yeah. So the other thing I was talking about is they were also talking about COVID in the second season. And I can't imagine, especially these kids that are from out of state, living in a dorm in college during COVID. The isolation, so I saw this story early on in COVID about this person they had just been put in rehab when all of the restrictions were put in place.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
I can't imagine being in any kind of situation like that where you're just,
Can you imagine being in jail?
I can't.
Like,
Like, honestly, the isolation, because I mean, I live in my house I see my family, and
Mm-hmm.
it was isolating enough.
Yeah. I get so... I spend most of my time raging these days just because
Yeah,
I'm
I'm there.
so fucking done with people not
My
taking COVID seriously.
my anxiety has been so high lately that it's actually sending me into a depression.
Yeah, same, pretty
So,
much.
because I don't have, we've talked about this. We talked about our
Mhm.
mental
Mhm.
illnesses. I do not have have diagnosed depression. I do not have depression. I only have like mostly anxiety and ADHD and stuff. But when
Mhm.
my anxiety gets so high, it tips that scale, and I
Yeah.
do have depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
And then I go into like that spiral, and I'm just like sitting there overthinking everything, and
Yeah, I can feel myself kind of
I'm
with the
heading
depression. I
there.
can feel myself getting into a depression funk that I'm trying to fight every day. Like at every point during every day now, it's like I'm just gonna go back to
Well,
bed. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep
I
doing
have to
stuff.
work all the time right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
this
I
is
don't. So
just for you and
I'm
I.
lucky. Okay,
None
I
of the
won't tell
listeners
anybody.
can none of the listeners can listen to this. My
Everybody, shut
friend,
up and
yeah,
don't
close your ears.
interrupt and
Turn
don't
it
tell
off.
anybody.
My friend that got me this job during the summer
Mhm.
left like a month afterwards because she got a better job
Mhm.
as like a supervisor or something. She just texted me on Wednesday that she wants me on her team at a whole different company that's fully remote forever instead of just until April like this one
Ooh,
is.
what's the
So,
pay
and
like?
it's at least what I'm making now.
Okay.
But at this job, they've already told me that they're going to talk about moving me up, but I feel like they might just be telling me that.
Yeah, they could totally just
So,
be telling you that.
I think I'm going to
But if the pay is
at
the
least the
same or
same.
better, and you know you can stay home forever,
And she told me that there's a chance of advancement there.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
I'm going to take it.
all corporate office environments suck anyway,
They're all
so
the same. They all equally
yeah.
suck. And it's the same system that I used at my last job that I left
So
for
you
this
already
one.
kind of know what you're doing,
I
and
prefer it, actually. I prefer that system.
yeah.
So, yeah, for what I do, which is garbage and I hate it, it's
Well, we have
whatever.
our shop is closed until at least the end of February because we were
Nice.
going to do that anyway, but it's less busy in the winter. Usually what happened was my parents would go south, usually to Texas, to like hang out for a couple of weeks and buy stuff and just
I mean,
generally get
Texas
away.
is super fun, actually. There's a lot of stuff to do here.
Well, yeah, they had done that, and then they would always close the shop for a few months, which is really honestly pretty common here. Like for antique stores or thrift shops or a lot of them have a season, so they just kind of
Yeah.
close for the winter because it's not as busy, and then you don't have to pay to have the heat full blast and all the electricity, and it's like, why not take a break? So,
Yeah.
but I wanted to close immediately at the beginning of January, and my mom was like, no, I'm gonna get bored, so she kept it going
Oh, yeah, I remember
until
that.
finally this week she decided, okay, fine, we're gonna be done through February, so we're done. But that means that I have more time to sit at home and think about things that make me angry and be depressed.
Yeah.
So I'm trying very hard to just like not do that, to try to make stuff. And I feel so bad because my son's birthday is coming up. He turns 12 next week.
Ugh, I
And
hate
there's
birthdays.
nothing we can do for like a party. I can't even invite really people over. I can't. We decided his favorite thing in the entire world is family game night. We don't ever have family game night ever, but he
That's
has
what I
seen this
started doing.
concept in ads and on YouTube videos, and he wants to have a family game night.
We've been doing that on nights that I have my kids over for dinners and stuff.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we have Uno,
Oh, we play a lot of Uno. Yeah, he loves the Uno.
And then we have this game called Super Mega Lucky Fun Box or whatever, and it's super fun and it's easy. It's like bingo. It's really easy.
Oh, okay.
And then we have Jackbox, which is
Yeah.
on the Switch. That's it.
Yeah,
And my
we've got a
kids
couple different things.
are super entertained, and they think that my house is the fun house, and I win. So,
well, we decided just to do
checkmate X.
just immediate family. Like, just having his big brother play board games with him is going to be more fun than any party. Get some cake,
See,
some takeout
we make it
food.
mandatory. Everybody bring your
Just be
phones
done.
out, play Jackbox. That's it.
Yeah. See, my problem is I hate playing games.
My kids. So I'll be playing the game,
Loathe
but they'll
them.
also be like on my phone,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, Mom, put your phone down and be engaged. I'm like, this is how I'm engaged. Like, I'm literally engaged with you.
Set a good example. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
One side note before we end the show, also,
yes, please.
I just watched the Tammy Faye Baker movie.
Oh, was it good?
Super good.
Okay, now I know what I can watch.
Always
next.
liked her, but now I love her. She became a gay icon for a reason because she was super vocal about LGBTQ rights, and she was very involved in like HIV movement, and like she was for the people. Like she just cared about the people and not ostracizing people just because they are sick. And
what is that on? Is that on
HBO?
Netflix? HBO. Okay, that's
HBO.
right.
Yeah,
I need to watch that. By the way,
you also need to watch Acapulco. Please watch Acapulco.
Okay, but I did watch Yellow Jackets.
I have not watched that yet.
Fuck. Oh my god.
Do I need to watch that?
You do, but it's on Showtime, so you got to get like 1 month of Showtime.
Fine, I'll get 1 month of Showtime.
I went on. Well, they have a 7-day.
I have it on Hulu.
trial,
I'll get it on through Hulu.
Yeah,
like
that's
Showtime.
what.
Okay.
I do that. Yeah, I did mine through Prime, but oh my god,
I can do Prime too.
Don't.
I can't
make
watch.
sure your kids aren't anywhere near the house.
My kids are never anywhere because they're all
good.
grown.
I had to watch the whole show with the door shut just so that my son wouldn't accidentally walk in on some gore or sex or just it's.
So my favorite things, gory
it's
sex.
Fucked up. You're gonna love it. It's so good.
I'm sure I'll love it. Okay,
So
I'll watch that one. So you watch Acapulco. It is not gore. It is not sex. It is.
What is Acapulco on again?
Apple TV.
Apple TV. Okay.
So use one of your kids' emails and get a one. So it is. So it's about this. This guy telling his story of when he was a kid, a teenager, working at a resort in Acapulco. So parts of it are in Spanish, like when he was with his mom and his sister and his best friend, but the rest of the time it's in English.
Okay.
And it's really sweet, and there's parts where I'm laughing and then you're crying. Honestly, I liked it more than Ted Lasso. It was to me, it hit more emotional notes for me than Ted Lasso. And I loved Ted Lasso.
That's a good
Not
endorsement,
so much
then.
the third season. I didn't like it as much, but I really, or second season, whichever one.
I was going to say, wait, there's a third season?
I didn't like the second season as much as the first season, but I really liked. This show was very it was very touching. I liked it.
Well, now that I have my my paid month of Showtime, I'm binging all the Showtime shows. So
did you see the I don't know if that's Showtime or Max, the White Queen or Queen White Rose or Queen?
Oh yeah, I've seen all those. Those are
those are Showtime, I think, or Max. Super good.
Yeah, those are all great. Good. I've seen those a million times.
I can't get through Outlander though. Those are hard.
Yeah, I've never been able to get through it either.
Right. I read the books, but I can't.
One thing I wanted to do this time, because I forget every single time, is to plug our Secret Soup Talk group on Facebook.
Yes.
Because we have this amazing Secret Soup Talk. It's just literally called
actually
Secret Soup Talk. And it's fun, and like we do stuff in there, and there's all kinds of shenanigans, and it's good people. And I think more people need to be in it. So, and us, yes, we are there too.
I love when new people join and they're like, "Hey," and we interact, and they're like so excited we're interacting with them.
Because we're celebrities, but we're real really people too.
I go to the grocery store at my
Yeah.
front porch like everybody else.
I know. I go to
I
the
don't actually.
bathroom.
I literally don't go to the
It's
grocery
so
store.
weird. Yeah, no,
The only time I go in the grocery store is if we need freshly ground coffee or new popcorn kernels, because that's from this one store that doesn't deliver. So,
well, I like to use the Secret
Yeah.
Soup Talk group to get life advice or to complain. Complaining is fantastic. It's my
So
favorite.
I can't tell you the things I really want to tell
Yeah.
you because I will get another Facebook ban
Yeah,
if
I
I
know.
tell you things, because it's usually like "suck it up, bitch" or
Oh,
"grow
I
a
want to use
pair."
the word. They won't let you use bitch on Facebook anymore, and it is
It's
making
so
me
annoying.
so
It's my
fucking
favorite
angry.
word.
There's so many times I'm about to type it out, and I'm like, "Quit being a little bitch!" And God damn it, they're just gonna fucking ban
Like
me
Gentleman
again. So I
Caller,
can't
like his
say it.
favorite thing is, "Have you tried not being such a bitch?"
Right?
Like,
That's a
no, I
solid
have not.
line. I
Have you
love
tried not
it.
being a little bitch? Or the other
Suck it
thing
up,
is
you
when I
bitch.
eat something that
you
makes me
know.
sick, because I do that all the time, as do you, I'm sure. He says, "Your week and your family week is weak." And I'm like, it's true. That's why I can't handle Taco Bell that I just ingested.
Yeah,
But they're
I mean,
bringing back the Mexican pizza, so
God damn it, Facebook. Well, we also,
all right.
in
So you need
addition
to
to
people.
our Secret Soup Talk Facebook group, we also have patrons that we read. If you pledge at $6.66 a month or more, that is called the Devil's Chili level. We will read your name each and every week, and I will pronounce it correctly. So,
She will.
our 666 and above patrons, in no particular order, because I don't care anymore. There's just a list of them. Patreon is not user friendly, so
It's
fuck
fine.
'em.
I won't even interrupt. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So we have got Don Ford, voice of fantasy and adventure, Aaron, Lois, a noble spirit embiggens the smallest man, a perfectly cromulent statement. That is not a Christian name. I just want to point that out. Renee, April, New Year, new patrons, same great karaoke legend. Paul, Sarah, Randall, Life in the Left Lane podcast, Yesh, Natalie, Wendy, Nuggin, Andy, and our 34th favorite, Rich.
33rd.
30? Oh, okay, fine. You talked me down. Our 33rd favorite, Rich.
I just have to be slightly nicer than you.
You're such a bitch.
It's very true. It's actually
thank Amy
that's why
for getting
I'm in the lower feeds for 22 days.
Yes,
because
thank Amy for getting number 33, Rich. You're welcome. I wanted to put you at 34, but whatever. So yes, thank you for being our patrons. We love you guys so much, and we're trying so hard to like do this regularly, like podcast. So we've been doing pretty good, I think, with the Sunday night thing. It's I'm getting into a groove. I do my makeup 5 o'clock. Turn it into a whole routine. It's going good. Any last thoughts about Cheer that you?
It was fantastic. I think everybody should watch it. If there's anything social that bothers you, that's just Texas. I'm not sorry.
Yeah. I mean, you should be sorry, but
well, no, I'm not. I'm not. That's just
there's.
I'm one of those sociopaths. If I had to live through it, you have to live through it. No, it's just that's just Texas. Like Texas,
it's disgusting how much pressure gets put on these kids, but
it's pretty terrible. And that's one of my notes was getting out of your head to actually compete must be like insane.
I can't even imagine. It's
and I feel so bad for them. But a lot of the social stuff with all the pressures and the beauty standards and then the hair and the big bows.
Oh
that's
my
just
God,
Texas.
the hair. Yeah.
That's Texas. That's literally Texas. So
I can see that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody watch Cheer. That's your assignment. And then apparently Acapulco after that, and Yellow Jackets.
Please watch Acapulco.
And Yellowstone. There's so many shows.
I have not been able to get into Yellowstone yet. I need to.
See, Yellowstone takes, I'm telling you, the whole first half of season 1 to get into.
God, that's why I never watched. What was the other one?
Breaking Bad.
What was Breaking Bad? I could never get past. I watched the first 3 episodes like 5 times.
Same thing. You got to stick with Breaking Bad.
God damn it! I hate those shows. Get me engaged. Like the best of times, the worst of times. First sentence, get me engaged. Then I'll read the rest of the book.
I know. I mean, I could make you a little cheat sheet for Yellowstone where I'm like, okay, here's the basics. Now start watching from the good episodes.
I also can't get into Letterkenny.
Yeah, neither can I.
And
it was funny the first couple times. I just don't
it's
care
the same
enough.
thing over and over again.
Not that great.
And I love stupid humor. Like I've seen all of Archer, love it. I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, love it. But for some reason, Letterkenny.
It's because they're Canadian.
That's probably it.
Those
and it just
fucking
reminded me of
Canadians aren't that funny.
Kevin, and then I fucking hate them.
Yeah,
so
no, it's terrible.
That's it.
All right, well, this has been a fun show. I have some peach cobbler upstairs I want to eat because I'm hungry. So
I'm sitting here touching my hair because it actually looks pretty great. It's filthy and it feels disgusting, but it looks good.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have dirty. I need to go take a shower now since my son stole all
my
the hot water
hairstylist,
earlier.
who's one of my we were talking about earlier. She's one of my best friends, and she always tells me when you go somewhere fancy, do it dirty.
Yep.
Your hair, she was like, you gotta do it dirty because
it makes it easier to fix your hair too.
It does, because then it just all goes to the same place.
All right, take us out, Amy.
Oh yes, I need to.
You gotta. This is you're doing the producing, so.
Oh my God.
So we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
To all of you motherfuckers who put up with the Amy's droning on week after week. If you enjoy their delightful bitchcraft, please follow them on all of the social medias and send them all of your money on Patreon or PayPal. You can find them on these platforms by using the Google machine. It's not hard. If you want to bitch with other fans about the show, join the Secret Soup Talk Facebook group. If you want to tell Amy and Amy to fuck off personally, you can send an email to secularsouppodcast@gmail.com, although it may go unanswered. Please rate and review the show on iTunes, Facebook, and wherever else you can review things like this. It will help spread the soup gospel far and wide. And hey, text someone right now. Tell your friends. As always, we'll leave you with the vocal stylings of Mr. Eli Bosnick.
Secular soup creed. Soup is the ultimate virtue. It's delicious, nutritious, patriarchy smashing, racism fighting, warm and fuzzy, human affirming, fun having, anti-theist, glitter throwing, tummy satisfying, pair of new shoes fulfilling, diversity seeking, happiness. Minestrone, beef and barley, chicken broth and split pea, gazpacho, tomato, clam chowder and potato, chicken noodle, beef noodle, egg drop and ramen cup, miso, gumbo, leek and pho. Grab a bowl and taste the magic. Slurp even this.